Okay, we're continuing with quotes in alphabetical order. We just did Rodney Stark. Now we're doing Stephen Stark. He was a lawyer and he wrote a book about how to be a good legal writer. And he says, the core of effective communication and argument, at least initially, is simplification. You have to narrow it down to something that the audience, the jury, the judge, or whoever's reading your paper, whoever it might be, that they can understand. So he says, unless readers know right up front from the beginning where you're heading and why, it's very difficult for them to follow what you're saying, and much less to be convinced by it. The older one gets, the better one becomes as a writer. That's one of the good things about writing. You know, people ask me, why do I like writing so much? I go, because I'm fucking old, okay? For an old guy, writing is a good thing. You know, I can't compete with the young guys in the wrestling room anymore, okay? But with writing, I got lots of advantages. Plus, it's fun. You know, an old guy wants to share everything he's learned over the course of his life. Okay, Stark continues. Devise a 1 or 2 sentence slogan that embodies your position in the matter. Like Johnny Cochran, if the glove doesn't fit, you must acquit. Okay, something simple and memorable that will stick in the mind of the audience. He says the intuitive attraction of an argument is paramount. Yeah, they have to get it. They have to feel it. Like, you know, Jerry Spence, the other great lawyer, he said, you want to use present tense emotional words, short words that convey, you know, concrete emotional meaning, because that resonates with the listener. And it's a sign of telling the truth when you're direct and clear and simple. Clarence Darrow, the great lawyer, he was a scumbag, Clarence Darrow, but anyways, here's what he said. The job of a trial lawyer is to get the audience to like his client. The more somebody talks about themselves to you, the more they like you, and the more they can be influenced by you. Therefore, it is wise to encourage people to talk about themselves and to let them go on as much as they want. Okay, the next one here is Ralph Waldo Emerson, I think. Okay, he says, it is only when they cannot answer your reasons that they wish to knock you down. The best argument is not accosting them in front of the hostile premises, but flanking them by a new generalization which incidentally disposes of them. Yeah, you know, you want to try to avoid arguing at all costs if you can. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes people force you into a corner and you got to speak up for yourself. All right, some quote from Robert Jackson. The advocate can make no greater mistake than to ignore or to attempt to conceal the weak points of his case. The most effective strategy is at an early stage of the argument to invite attention to your weakest point before the court has discovered it, and then to meet it with the best answers at your disposal. To deal with all the remaining points with equal candor and to end with as powerful a presentation of your strongest point as you are capable of making. So leave that last positive thing in their mind, so to speak, is what Robert Jackson's recommending. Okay, we're going to do a few other people real quick. We're going to just briefly talk about R. Steele. I actually could have a lot more quotes by him, but it's not letting me move it. Here we go. He wrote a really good book, R. Steele. His book, Office Politics, it's a great book. He also wrote books about how to seduce women. And they're overrated, but they were kind of good too. I like him. He's a cranky old guy who just says what he thinks, and there's some truth in what he says. All right, this guy, Stephen, I'm not even sure who this guy is. Something about the minority doesn't give way because it's convinced it's wrong. It gives way because it's convinced it's a minority. Okay, I'll briefly just tell you a little bit of stuff about Laurence Sterne. Laurence Sterne was sort of an Anglo-Irish writer, born in Ireland, lived there 10 years. I think he became a clergyman, but he wrote a brilliant book. It's kind of a crazy book. It was ahead of its time. He lived in the 1700s. His book was called Tristram Shandy. And, you know, there's other guys writing in the 1700s, and they're real confusing. Their language is hard to follow, but he's real easy to follow. And the book is full of what you call metafiction, thinking about thinking, like Hamlet, all these asides, philosophical asides. And this even got named as Shandy in Style after Tristram Shandy. The book starts before he was born. There's lots of scatological humor. Let's see. He reminded me of Roderick Random and Travis Smollett. If you're familiar with these old writers from the 1700s, these guys are like the funniest, the best of them. Him and Swift. I like Jonathan Swift too. He did all kinds of weird things with this book. He would leave a blank page in the middle for the writer to write notes. He'd have a dark page and leave the whole page dark saying that was nighttime. Anyways, I'll leave it at that for now. We'll talk more about Laurence Sterne next time, but he actually is pretty interesting in terms of the old-time writers. I hope you found that helpful.